Here are a few facts that may be interesting and also shocking. Worldwide, obesity has more than doubled since 1980. In 2014, more than 1.9 billion adults 18 years and older were overweight. That's 39% of adults. And of those, 600 million were obese, which is also 13% of the population. So most of the world's population live in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than the underweight. 42 million children under the age of 5 were overweight and obese in 2013. The good news is obesity is preventable. This anti-obesity public service announcement is from the Strong for Life campaign and was first aired in 2012. It is sponsored by Children's Health Care of Atlanta, one of the largest pediatric providers. It has brought much controversy to the obesity epidemic in America. The ad aims to show how long-term behavior can result in serious health problems, starting with how the parents raise their children. The ad wants the viewers to fast forward to the year 2030 and see what will happen if the issues of obesity are not addressed. But this may be shocking and disgraceful for some, while being an eye-opener for others. It is a very powerful yet controversial advertisement. So take a look and see how it makes you feel.
All right, what do we got?
Just came in. Heart attack. 5'9", 300 pounds, 32 years old.
How the hell does that happen?
Can I get a, Could be developing diabetes. You have to make a change. Oh, yeah.
You're graduating! Watch TV. You won't even have to leave.
You can't do this.
Yes, can I get a...
Yeah, no, deep dish.
You have to make a change. Good job, Jim. You got an A+.
Here are your fries, sweetie.
I still can't believe you give this child French fries.
I know, but it's the only thing that'll make him stop.
The target audience and population in this first video include any social class, whether it be poor or the wealthy, and shows how we need to as a society make a change in what we are putting in our bodies and our children's bodies, whether it be junk food, fast food, or anything that can cause harmful side effects to an individual's body over a long period of time. A certain age this video is targeting range from childhood to adulthood, at first showing that mom feeding the french fries at a young age because this is what he wanted to eat rather than what he should have ate, and just to keep him quiet. Later it shows the child grown up in grade school trading his fruit for other better tasting foods, eating whatever he wanted or whatever the family thought was cheap and readily available at the time, and even showing that in schools that children are rewarded for candy for good grades, like I know what I was at that age. Lastly, he, as an adult, shows him always eating on the run, never time to cook and prepare a good meal for himself, while slowly getting worse and worse and approaching diabetes. He even tried a treadmill, but with no motivation, it slowly turned into a storage area for junk. The text of this message was that your child's future doesn't have to look like this, which was a young male who was grossly overweight. He was 5'9", 300 pounds, and 32 years of age. That was just going through a heart attack, which should never happen to anyone at this age, but nowadays it is seeming more and more common, and that is why I believe this video was made, to show how and why it could happen, and even how easy it can happen over time to anyone.
The underlying subtext of this video is that obesity is not an acute event that happens overnight. Obesity results from years of lifestyle choices, including eating habits and activity level. The example from the video showcases 30 years of poor eating habits and very low levels of activity. As well, the video tells us that obesity does begin in childhood. Our environment plays a role in our weight, which includes but is not limited to our parents and our schools. One of the tools of persuasion used in this video is fear. The video shows the main character laying on a hospital gurney, hooked up to oxygen and being barely conscious, hearing the doctors say he's had a heart attack at only 30 years old, in an attempt to show the possible consequences of such lifestyle choices. First-person imagery is used to show what day-to-day life looks like for an obese individual. It shows his eating habits and his view watching TV and playing video games. Relativity is used to show the relationship between the lifestyle choice and how he was affected by these choices.
This slide shows the positives and negative aspects of the commercial. The positives are that the message was powerful, showing that obesity doesn't just happen overnight. It also gets people to think about the problem of obesity and their own health. It serves as a reminder to parents about what they are feeding their children and their activity levels. And lastly, that it's never too late to change. On the other hand, the negative aspects are that people may view it as blaming the parents. For example, when the parent gives the child the juice in the French fries because the child won't stop crying. The commercial can also be viewed as stereotyping. People create defense mechanisms when they feel targeted. This clip could be viewed as targeting the overweight and obese population, causing the defense mechanism. It also shows food as a main problem. This may be true, but you must also take the other aspects like behavior, genetics, and type of nutrients people receive into perspective as well. Lastly, it shows being overweight or obese is shameful and a disgrace, and this has never been effective for behavior change. What is not being told in the commercial is the effect of the parents' lives on the child, like how the parents were raised as children, the stresses and struggles in their lives, and how much time they have on their hands. It also doesn't give much info on how to break the cycle of obesity. It could possibly show some positives of good health and possibly how to start the process of change rather than show all the negatives.
President Barack Obama addresses childhood obesity in this video clip. He was speaking with doctors and nurses at the Ohio State Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio, during his 2008 campaign. Ohio was holding its primary on the same day as Texas, the following month. Obama's campaign administration would have funded the campaign that was held at the medical center, but the video was filmed by the Associated Press. Numerous websites speak about this particular campaign because he attacks Clinton and McCain on healthcare issues. This little piece of video just happened to be captured during a discussion on childhood obesity. The president speaks of the importance of physical activity in schools and cutting the sugary drinks that children consume. Hear what the president has to say.
Well, I think physical education in schools, changing eating habits for kids.
Right.
Just getting them to stop drinking soda pop as a start, for example. I mean, the corn syrup that's being pumped into these kids, we know is setting some bad long-term trends. I mean, we used to eat junk, but we just didn't have as much of it.
And we weren't allowed. We were outside playing. We were not.
We couldn't supersize it.
Right. Right.
And so there's no doubt that, in fact, my home state of Illinois, I think, I'm pretty sure about this, is the only state in the country now that still requires phys ed for local school districts. Most of the schools have abandoned it because they're underfunded and they're worried about testing, and so although ironically it turns out kids perform better if they get phys ed, if they get some time to just work through all these issues. So I think it's a terrific point, Will.
The target audience for the second video would be the parents. Obama is trying to explain that the things that we ingest we do not think is harmful for us, like sodas that have long-term effects on our bodies when we were younger, to when we are older with substances like high fructose corn syrup. Other foods like this, like TV dinners, have preservatives that are equally as bad for our bodies, and we eat them without care. The message of this video suggests that we are not putting as much care into what our children eat as much as we should. We expect that the things that we can buy in a normal supermarket to be good for us and cannot harm us, but that is simply not the case. There are many things we can buy at a store, from microwavable dinners to sodas to fatty bacon. The list goes on. And we are not watching what we are feeding our kids. The message is to give us more of an insight on how we should check on what we are feeding our kids. If not, we could be looking at many future health problems associated with these foods.
The underlying subtext of this first part of the video tells us basically that we need to be more conscious about what we feed our children. In the second part, we are given emphasis on how activity affects our health, and even starting at a young age. One tool used to persuade in this video is the idea of power. As the elected leader of America and a public figure, President Obama is someone who will be listened to and taken seriously when he talks about such matters. Also, facts are used as a tool. For example, he mentions Illinois is one of the only states that still requires PE in schools. History is used to show how times have changed and how it has affected our nation's health. The president compares the activity and diet of his generation to the current generation.
This slide shows the positives and negatives of Obama's message. The positives are that he shows a want for change in eating habits. He makes remarks that could move in a positive direction, like stop drinking soda pop and supersizing. He also states there is a need for PE in schools because children do benefit from it. Most of the schools are underfunded, so PE gets dropped. Illinois is the only state that is required to have PE. The negatives to his announcement were that there was no explanation why high fructose corn syrup was bad when he addressed it. He could have provided more information on how to change, like what process and actions to take to help induce the plan. This graph backs up the information about how PE class is important by showing the strong correlation between higher fitness scores and higher academic scores. What is not being told in the announcement is why schools are underfunded in PE and what to do about the issue of PE being cut in schools. Also, some information on how to achieve the goal of helping children make smarter and healthier choices in today's world.
Here is a chart that shows how many commercials U.S. children watch from fast food ads per year. So, as mentioned, much of the problem is the high energy dense and high fat foods that are consumed. Also, as you heard in the Obama video, he said back in his childhood years, they had junk, but you couldn't supersize it. Nowadays, everything is supersized and in large portions. So take a look at this chart to see how many ads are geared toward children. If something is to be done about this epidemic, this is another important factor. The food industry can play a significant role in promoting healthy diets by reducing the fat, sugar, and salt content of the processed foods, ensuring that healthy and nutritious choices are available and affordable to all consumers, practicing responsible marketing, especially those aimed at children and teenagers, and ensuring the availability of healthy food choices and supporting regular physical practice in the workplace. So please, let's stop obesity. Overweight and obesity, as well as their overweight and obesity-related diseases, are largely preventable. Supportive environments and communities are fundamental in shaping people's choices, making the healthier choice of foods and regular physical activity the easiest choice, such as making them accessible, available, and affordable, which will therefore prevent obesity. So please, limit energy intake from total fats and sugars, increase consumption of fruit and vegetables as well as whole grains, engage in regular physical activity, and encourage those that may need help. And also, let's have less fat shaming. And together, we can do this.